Hello, everybody, and welcome to Becoming Invincible podcast. I am your host, Talia, and I am so excited to have you here. This podcast is to reframe your mindset, challenge those limiting beliefs that you may have when you're navigating all the situations in your life. And I'm here to give you tools to help you navigate them in such a healthy way and to harness your personal power that we tend to lose along the way. So settle up, get ready, grab a coffee, and get ready for some juice in each episode as I throw you what life has thrown me and we can navigate this shit together. All right, welcome back to another episode. I am back doing more present episodes now. So exciting. Today is actually my birthday, so happy birthday to me. It's really cool to record on my birthday. We're about to go into school holidays, so it's really good to be able to record episodes while the girls are both at school. So I have time and space to do that. Episode today I wanted to do is on nervous system regulation. All right, regulating our nervous system, how our nervous system tells us when things are unsteady, how we can sort of learn more about our nervous system, because we all understand it because self-development is very trendy now, but I really wanted to do an episode on how we can try to understand it, because my whole point and purpose for my podcast is actually to help you guys understand self-development things, but just to put it more in reality, because I think people can get so caught up in the jargon of self-development that they don't actually say it in sort of like a human. And I believe that it leaves a lot of people unturned. And I really want people to understand that they're not broken as well. And that's hence why my podcast. All right. So coming into nervous system work. So for the past 8 months, I've been deep diving this whole year into certification. Okay. Behind the scenes. I do wish I sort of vlogged behind the scenes so people would actually sort of understand and make it really more normalized about this work, because the work is actually quite not normal. It's very nuanced. When I tell people, they're just like, what the hell? Really wanted to help you guys. And so really exciting. I'm certified. I've done all my assessments and everything like that. That's why I had to put a pause on the podcast. So what I meant by the pause, because people did say like, oh, but you're still launching episodes. So those episodes were from June. And in recording of this podcast, not from launching now, but from recording this, I have still got some episodes that are still from like June, July time, and we're in September right now from recording. So yeah, that's how kind of behind I am as such, but that's only because I really wanted to, I was like, okay, I need to put the podcast on pause, because there's so much that is involved in a podcast with doing an episode, recording it, and then putting it together and uploading. Like there's a lot into it. I couldn't do both because I am a mum of two. I do it all by myself. I very much look after the girls on my own. So doing a certification, looking after the girls, and then running a podcast, it's like full on. It was way too full on for me. Something needs to give, and it's going to be the podcast. So I let that go. So at the moment, I'm just trying to like edit, push out all the other episodes. And then obviously you guys would have previously to listen to this episode, you would already know I have an episode being like, hey, welcome back to blah, blah, blah. So yeah, here we are to this present moment. So it's been a very growing time. I do help people behind the scenes on my Instagram with self-development. And because that is something that everyone comes to me for, I'm like, okay, well, because I'm certified and I can actually help people a lot more, because the reason why I can help people a lot more is that a somatic and embodiment instructor is someone who helps you work out where things come from, not a therapist, right? So we don't label anything. It's more about I help you guys, take you through a process. You're not hypnotized or anything, but we go in and work out certain feelings that you've ever felt in your life. And if those don't understand, you can listen to my trauma episode. I have a episode on that, and all I like what I say in there, because trauma is a very demonized word, right? Oh my God, scary. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. So basically I just express about how it is. And I call it a different word. I always forget what I call it. But anyway, so I call it something else. And because I just don't like how people make it sound really bad. Anyway, so I talk about it all a lot in there. So whatever you've gone through life with, okay? We've all had a different life. Now, things impact us in our life from many different parts of our life, okay? But mainly as a child, because our perception as a child is a child's brain, we haven't grown the prefrontal cortex, which is that adult brain. So, because children are feeling and doing until like their adult brain comes in, their prefrontal cortex, the adult brain, they are just kids. We have to really understand that. But because a lot of us don't get told that, we just think you should be fucking old enough to understand that. Like you're a 16-year-old, you're a 17-year-old or whatever, right? And there's a reason why, like, especially in Australia, we start drinking at 18 legally. Obviously, a lot of us do that before, but and in America, it's 21. There's a reason for that for 21 because that's when your prefrontal cortexes are grown in. So any time before that, you're obviously going to like stunt a bit of growth and things like that, right? That's what they say. It's the same with what you experience in your life. Now, trauma isn't about having vivid memories. It's not about having, oh my God, I'm going to have flashbacks. No, it's about the feeling will always stay the same. Okay. So I'm going to talk about this in like a little bit of a story, and then I'll go through like the different nervous system states that we can go in every day. So don't worry, I'll break this down for you in like a very human. Okay. All right. So when we are experiencing life as a child, depending on whatever it could be the love that you get from your parents, how your friends value you, how you interact with your friends, your teachers, everyone around you, right? We're very influenced by our environment. Okay. And we know that in self-development, right? It's the 5 people you surround yourself with. If you're not happy with all of them, you need to change it because you're going to be exactly like them. Okay. And it's a big wake up call for a lot of people. So it's the same thing as when you're a child. So when you're a child, from the ages of 0 to 7, it's all statistic, guys, as well. I'm not making this shit up, okay? So from the ages 0 to 7, that is when your belief systems are formed. So that's like your inner voice, what you believe in about yourself, how you view yourself, all those sort of things. That's when they're formed. And they are formed by how you're spoken to, by your parents, by everyone around you. They are formed on how certain situations by people's actions make you feel as well. Now, the best movie for this is Inside Out #2. Inside Out 1 does it a little bit, but Inside Out 2, I know it's a kids movie, but it's like the best way that people can grasp this, okay? So Inside Out #2 is really good because it actually goes more into belief systems. And so I really encourage everyone to watch that. So that can like help you guys along as well. So that's when like how you will talk to yourself, what you think about yourself, everything like that gets formed, right? So how your parents act towards you, say towards you, how they talk about themselves in front of you, you absorb as your own. Because again, children are only feeling and doing, okay, from all ages, even when they're a 16-year-old, okay? So because they're just like feeling and doing all through life, that's how a toddler can move in and out emotions so well. Like I'm feeling angry, okay, then I'm happy again. And that's amazing because that's how we need to learn to move through. But because we're adults, even though they're putting emotion to it, we put a belief to it. So if someone makes you feel left out, that can take you back to a time of like, oh gosh, I'm not worthy for anyone to be around. So we label that. And that's why we sit in feelings a lot more as adults than children do as when they're a child. Right? When we have kids, like those of us that are parents that are listening, that's how they are our biggest teachers because they mirror to us what we need to sort of work on. If your child, like how your toddler can move in and out of emotion so effortlessly, that's how it's meant to be because they don't have the capacity, like they don't have the capacity yet because they're at 4, 3 to put a label and a belief on that because they're still pure of heart. Gone through life as older, being like, oh my God, and feeling the shame and guilt and all those sort of things. They don't know that yet. They just know happy, angry, sad, neutral, right? Or disgust. Just like Inside Out, like, they only know certain emotions. And so how this relates to our nervous system, how it all works is that when you're a child, however you perceive events in your life, when your mum's like, oh my God, just get out for a second, I just need privacy, your child can feel very traumatized by that. As an adult, it's like, oh, but you're telling them to get out because they won't leave you alone or whatever the reason is, right? But as a child, they're like, oh my God, mommy doesn't love me. And they get really upset because they think they're the problem. I did something wrong. Because your child is never going to blame you. They're always going to blame themselves. And that is how shame starts. Because shame isn't about your shit. Shame is like, I'm shit. Because you shame yourself. Like, same with like, I should know better, right? I deserve that. We shame. Even that show called K-pop Demon Hunters. Like, I actually saw, again, I'm different, I guess, like not human. So I saw that show a lot differently. Whereas a lot of people wanted to slate it. Oh, it's so scary for kids. When I saw the message behind it of don't hold shame towards yourself, even though she's got the scars. I'm meant to be pure and like I'm a demon slayer, and she's holding herself at such a pedestal. But she needs to learn to accept herself and not shame herself. That is the whole thing about the movie. And I saw through it, and I think it's such a beautiful message, especially what the world needs today, you know? And also that movie, Big, Bold, Beautiful Adventure, or Journey, sorry, with Margot Robbie, and I can't remember the other guy's name. I saw that today with my friend. That explains having a healthy relationship and understanding healing. Amazing. People need to watch that too. So Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey and K-pop Demon Hunters. If anyone wants to, and Inside Out too, right? They're all really great movies to help us understand what I mean. All right. And so when you have that as a child, as a perception of like, oh my God, my mom doesn't love me. I did something wrong. Shame on me. Like they start to, even though they're not feeling shame yet, that's a belief that gets put on them. We can't control how our children perceive the world, because I know like people who are mums are probably like, holy fuck, Charles, like, I'm a bitch. No. Your child is going to perceive the world how they perceive. It doesn't matter how great you are at self-development. Like, I'm going to fuck up my kids, like, honestly, because you're human. Allowing them to see you in all your emotions and see you regulate is actually a lot more beneficial for them, because they're going to be adults, and that means they'll be secure adults to actually pass on and ripple out into the world. But they're going to process that when they're older, because again, that's when they get the prefrontal cortex brain to understand. Okay. But we can always help and support our kids, okay? It's not about, I don't want to give them any trauma, because you will, depending on whatever capacity it is. And I say in my trauma episode, because people go, oh, that's small trauma, that's big trauma. Fuck off. Trauma is trauma. We all perceive life so differently. How someone perceives something isn't going to be the same, and that's what makes us beautiful and unique, okay? So there's no such thing as like, I've been through worse than her. You know what I mean? No, that's ego, right? I say that in that too. Anyway, so because as a child, however you perceive, like how your teacher treated you, how your friends treated you, mom, dad, brother, sister, everyone, okay? You can't control that, okay? And they go through their life and they come as an adult, as we are now. Now, your nervous system is what you're feeling in your body. All right. And then I'm going to lose a lot of people where they're not going to understand what I'm going to mean by certain things either. Nervous system. So why did you go on that spiel about childhood tiles? Because how does that even relate to me right now with my nervous system? Like, what the fuck? Well, good question. Okay. So because you perceive that as a child, when you perceive a situation, you get a feeling to that. Because remember, feeling and doing as a child, okay? You're feeling into a situation made you feel sad, holy shit, okay, I'm good again. A feeling made you angry, I'm good again, right? Going in and out of emotion, that's what children do. Now, what happens is that when you're growing up, well, for most of us that are my age, so I'm 32, so I'm a millennial. I don't know what generation that makes me, Gen X or whatever the fuck it is. But anyway, I don't know any of that stuff, but I'm a millennial, okay? I'm a 93 baby. So I was growing up in a time, coming out of that time, I should say. Anyone who's like around my age, we're coming out of a time where children should be seen and not heard. All right. So our parents tried to do better, which they did, which is great because that's how it works. But we were still silenced. Well, I was personally, right? I'll speak from my experience and most of my friends around me, but my experience, that I was still shunned. Like there was times where I needed to shut up or I needed to get on with it. Oh, don't worry, don't be silly, all those things, right? So I was having an emotion to an experience in my life, regardless of what it was. And I didn't feel that emotion fully. Okay. So what happens in our nervous system? So basically you're feeling the emotion like, oh my God, that made me so sad. And because someone told me, you just get over it, you'll be right. I'm like, oh, so I don't sit in that feeling for long. So your feelings have a cycle. I should draw this out. Anyway, so your feelings have a cycle, right? So it's like we'll do it like it's a circle, all right? Your feeling has a cycle. A complete full circle, it means that you've felt the entire emotion through as long as you need. There's no time limit. It's for as long as you need. But most of the time, when you're feeling an emotion, regardless if it's like anger, sad, frustration, whatever it is, you'll feel that emotion and then just get over it. You'll be right. No worries about it. It will stop, whatever point. So you're feeling the emotion, that's great. Oh, you'll be right, get over it. It stops there and it hasn't done a complete circle. Okay. And because it didn't do a complete circle, what happens to that part now gets stored in your body, just anywhere, however it will be. Like, you don't get to choose. There's no visual thing I could ever do. Like, it just gets stored into your body, however. Most of it in your spine, but we won't go into a lot of body parts here. Everyone's different, but it gets stored into your body because you didn't complete that full cycle. All right. So, yep. Oh, okay, I'll be right then. Another moment in time will happen. Oh my God, it made me sad. You'll be fine. Again, didn't complete the cycle, stored in the body. The more we do that over time, so the more I've done that throughout my life of not feeling an emotion through, or like, don't feel that way, you're wrong, or whatever. Like, we get so many different things, honestly, in life. Because I didn't feel through all the emotions, they get stored in our body. What can happen when we store feelings, like unprocessed feelings, because that's what trauma is basically, right? To not demonize the word. It's just that you haven't felt all of the emotion through, okay? And it gets stored in like your body. Now, how that can come out, I know I've got my window open so you can see my curtains flapping and you can probably hear the birds. But anyway, it's a beautiful spring day. So, because it gets stored in the body, and when like over time that happens over the years, that you then can get backaches, neck pain, it can go into digestion, so you can actually have a lot of gut issues, you can have a lot of skin reactions. So people who have really bad skin, like psoriasis is a big thing. I learned that a lot in hairdressing. Those that don't know, I'm an ex hairdresser. Anyway, I learned a lot about skin stuff, so that's a different thing altogether as well. But trauma is the cause for things like that, and we're all going to agree to disagree, but it really is a thing. But if you've been fine and all of a sudden you reach a point in your life that you're like, all of a sudden you have gut health issues, that's your trauma, because it's built up so much in your system. It's created, like, your body's, it can't hold that forever and just think it's going to be gone away. It will fester into something. It will fester into a lot of joint pain, skin conditions, like everything, hair loss. Like, you can even have cysts in your ovaries, like a lot of stuff. Like, it is linked to a lot of things like that because it's unprocessed and it carries weight in your body. So when we don't think that, because I know it sounds really like, what the fuck, like, it's emotion. Emotions carry so much, because when you, like, if you have a broken heart because someone broke up with you, you know how hard that feels. Like, oh my God, like, what the fuck? And you feel fucking devastated. When you have that and you don't process and allow yourself to feel those emotions, that devastation is going to be in your body and it carries a weight in your body. Honestly, it does. And you'll get a lot of pain in your joints and stuff because you're carrying so much. So the only way that you can release that trauma as such, like all that congestion in your body, is to heal, right? And this is where the whole like, oh, we're going to learn to heal and shit like that, okay? So when you start to heal and like work through things, so what I mean by this is that you work through with someone who understands nervous systems and trauma, because sometimes psychologists will just label what you have, like, oh, well, that's the reason why that's happening is because this happened to you as a child and this and this and blah blah, and you're like, oh my God, that's great. It creates self-awareness. You know why it's showing up now, where it came from. It's all great, but you're labeling it doesn't help you heal. Helping you heal is feeling the emotion. So when someone, like, that's why when people spend like 10 years in therapy and they go, fuck, I just don't feel like I'm getting anywhere, or like, I really thought I was healing this whole time, like, why, like, I've been 10 years here, like, why am I not getting better? Because you're not actually healing the root cause of your trauma. So you're not actually feeling through the process. So what that means is that we all live really fast-paced lifestyles now, like internet's fast, everything's fast, okay? We actually feel uncomfortable to feel our emotions because again, those that have grown up like me in the similar era, and it sounds old, but era, that you don't feel comfortable to be in your emotions, to feel whatever emotion it is. We can even be uncomfortable to feel happiness and pure joy. I'm one of those people. Like I'm still work in progress now that I'm a lot better to be able to feel that. But sometimes I feel like, oh gosh, like if I feel too much happiness, something bad's going to happen. And a lot of the time, a lot of us have that same similar feeling. And it's about training ourselves, not like, no, you can be happy. You're allowed to be happy. Nothing bad's going to happen. You deserve to be happy. And that comes from a lot of us not deserving of happiness, right? So there's a lot of things here, okay? You need someone that understands, that can take you through a process and go, okay, we're going to close down our eyes and we're going to work out like this feeling. They're obviously going to do like a full on check, blah, blah, blah. And then go, okay, we're going to take you through a process, like close down your eyes. I want you to feel blah, blah. And it gets you into your body because you cannot heal yourself through your mind. You heal yourself through your body. And it's hard for us to get, we think our way out of things. That's not how you heal. That's not how you release it out of your body. It's about feeling your way out. And because a lot of us are so uncomfortable at, oh my God, I don't want to feel, that's scary. That is why a lot of us are too scared to get into relationships. A lot of us are too scared to experience something because, oh, it always goes to shit. Something bad always happens. This is actually how we can get better at feeling. All right. And so that is the whole point of self-development, is getting better at feeling your emotions, regardless if they're sad and angry or happy and excited, honestly. So that is the whole point of self-development and everything. So then now when we go into our nervous system, so now we've experienced what we have as a child, when we go into our adult life and we come into a relationship, we can self-sabotage and make up things like, they're going to go anyway. Oh, I showed too much emotion, so he's going to break up with me because I'm not worthy of love. That's going to happen. Or we do things to self-sabotage the relationship, whether we break up with someone too soon, whether we push them too far in like a really bad way, like we can be quite nasty. And that person's like, see ya. It's like, I knew you'd leave. That is a self-sabotaging habit. Now, what I mean by self-sabotaging is where you don't deserve that you should be happy, or you don't deserve that it's real, because you're unlovable. That's the underlining thing, okay? There's more to it. Everyone's different, but that's roughly, okay? And so when you're doing that, you're going to push someone away because you're testing that person whether they're going to stick around or not, because you're so used to people being unfaithful, or you're so used to being left. Like maybe your parents didn't pay you enough attention that you needed as a child, so you push people away because it's easier to be alone than actually be with someone and be vulnerable, right? So when we come into the nervous system, we do things like that because when you're in a good relationship, it's like, oh my God, this feels too nice. Like he must be a narcissist. Nah, he's going to be a crazy person soon. Nah, this isn't real. We want to sabotage it because we don't believe that we can be happy, right? It's uncomfortable to feel happiness for too long. So now the nervous system parts, okay? So we've all heard fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, okay? Fight and flight is more like when you're in a very intense, upregulated, like holy shit experience. Okay. So whether you're like it comes out in anxiety. So when you're with someone or when you're experiencing it like a challenge in life, whatever it could be, you get a rush in your body. You feel like, holy fuck, I'm scared. Oh my God. And you get anxious and you're like, I feel sick. Holy crap, I can't do this. I can't do blah, blah, blah. And you panic, right? And you're in like an absolute hyper alert, or you actually go into like, I must do something. I got to do. Because if I sit still, I've got to feel that emotion and fuck that, right? So when you're in fight or flight, you're like, okay, let's sort this out. Like something's happened. So like, for instance, in me, I didn't know I was a fight response. I always thought I'd be flight, like see you later, right? So when you feel fight and flight, so when my dad passed away, I was fight. So I was like, okay, what are we going to do? Holy shit, this has happened. Next thing, I need to sort it out. Where are we going? Okay, we need to go here. We need to do that. This needs to be done. That is in fight mode. Flight mode is the same. Holy fuck, I can't do this anymore. See you later. Bye. It's not working out. Bye. I can't do it anymore. I can't be here. Holy shit, this is scary. That's flight. You're taking flight. You're going away from the situation. Okay. Very hyper states, anxiety, like holy shit, intense in your chest. Some people even might get tightening in the chest, like it's full on, right? Now, the other state is freeze and fawn. Okay, so they're a lot more relaxed. Okay, so what I mean by that is like freeze and fawn, like you're not feeling relaxed, by the way. Just want to say that. So freeze and fawn isn't like holy shit, oh my god. The freezing and fawning. So so freezing is where you're like holy shit, this happened, and you go in like a shutdown. I don't know how to process this, and you shut down. You close yourself off. You're like, I don't know how to feel. Fawning is, it can be multiple things. All right, so what's a good, how do I describe fawning? So fawning is like you shut down, you're closed off, but you're like, whatever you say, we can do that. It's like a people pleasing term, right? I used to fawn a lot in relationships. That's why I was surprised when I went to fight mode when my dad passed away, because I became a different person. But in my 6-year relationship, with a lot of our fights, I would fawn. So I'd be like, yeah, whatever you want to do, okay. Or I'd be like, I don't like it when you do this, like it makes me feel like this way. And then he'll come back with like defense or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you know what, you're right. And I'd fawn and be like, oh, okay, you're right. I shouldn't do that. That's fawning, right? It's the best way I can describe it. So you become very like closed off, but you're like, oh, okay, yeah. And you're like, okay, no worries. I'll step in line. That's fawning. And freeze is where you're like, okay. And like someone's trying to have like whether you're in an argument or like something massive happens in your life and you're like, I don't know how to feel, holy shit. And you don't say anything. You're not very vocal. You're just keeping to yourself and you're just stunned, right? So you're like very shut down, numbed out, and like you're even foggy. Some people experience like fogginess, like you don't really remember everything right because you just shut straight down. Like you don't want to deal with it. You put your head in the sand. That is freeze and fawning. Okay. And so we all drop into these states from time to time, right? Like it's normal. I can drop into fawning still sometimes in my relationship. I'll be honest with that. Like I can really drop into that. And I'm like, oh, fuck, Tulls. Like you need to remember you have a voice. Like, and it's not full on, but sometimes like if you feel vulnerable, certain parts of my cycle, I will people please a little bit, even with friends. So like I'm very honest in that because we're all human and understanding that we'll go through fight, flight, freeze and fawn at all different parts of our life, not all the time, but just like sometimes it could show up in certain circumstances. You don't get to choose. It's however your nervous system is wired. Like I didn't go, all right, that's it. If my dad was to die, I'm going to fucking sort everything out. I actually thought I would cry and I thought I would actually be freeze, like shut down and be like, holy shit. I was like, all right, well, what needs to be done? Why isn't anyone doing anything? Hurry, like, come on, wake the fuck up, everyone. That's what I felt like. And, but then in relationships at that time, I was like, oh, okay, whatever you say, so you can come in and out of these states. It's really normal. And we've got to normalize that. All right. It just depends on the situation. Your nervous is like your body will respond to things. It's like if you're around people that you don't align with, or maybe they might even be a little bit toxic, like bad for you. Your stomach, if you have a feeling you get like, nah, there's something about this I don't feel right, your nervous system will tell you before your mind does. But we like to, oh no, you're being silly. So we think our way out of everything. But your body holds the key. And that's why we've got to get good at feeling, clearing all that. So then you are able to access your intuition a lot more clearer. So then you're able to go, oh, I don't feel good about this situation, or I don't feel good about this decision. You need to trust yourself, because then that brings self-trust in yourself. And we want to build that because you can trust yourself. You don't need to trust anyone else but you. Okay. So this is why it's a really important episode. I'm really passionate about, clearly. So anyway, so it shows up in all of our life. If you catch yourself fawning or shutting down, how we can now get ourselves out of those states. It's different for everyone. It's all about grounding yourself, right? So you're in intensity. You want to try and do something to lower, like to go calm you, whether that's meditating, box breathing, doing breaths, maybe you need to go for a swim and just float in the water, anything like that. That's to bring that intensity down. Okay. And when you're in like freeze and fawn, you want to, because you're in a shutdown state. So you're in like oh, no one talked to me, shut down. You're in like a numb state. The whole world is like stops. So you're just like, what do I do with myself? So you need to then get yourself, how to get out of that is to be more upregulated. So you can even go and do a workout to get you to bring you out, to shake you out of like, okay, how do I describe it for you guys? I'm trying to be really simple with this shit because I could go crazy self development terms and it's not going to serve you guys. So when you're in like freeze and fawn state, because you're so sheltered and like, I don't have a voice, it's more like shame, I guess, right? Because I can try to put it in terms of not so much like a massive life event, but also like in relationships, whether that's with friendships and that, where you don't feel safe to speak your truth. That is freeze and fawning too, because you're stopping yourself and you're allowing yourself to be small. So you're trying to be like, no, and shut down. So to bring yourself out of that state to be in like okay, I want to be in a better state is to actually get yourself, like shake yourself out of it. Go for a run, go for a workout, however that is for you. I wouldn't say cold plunge because people do say cold plunging is so good for you. And in my earlier episodes, I said that was actually a good thing to do. Now, with my growth and what I know now, it's not so good when you're in a certain state. Okay. If you were to like, okay, well, I need to shake myself out of it. Okay. Well, cold plunging, everyone loves cold plunging. It's such trendy now, right? No, you can actually make yourself really worse if you go into cold plunging. Cold plunging is great. Okay, I encourage that. I love it myself. I need to get back into it, to be honest. So, cold plunging is really good to expand your nervous system. So, I would use cold plunging where you're in like a neutral state, you're not activated where you're in fight or flight mode or at all, but you're in a regulated state. I actually want to take up cold plunging. So, that's really good to expand your nervous system. Same with saunas. All right. So that's heat activating, right? So when you do a cold plunge, and if you use that when you're in freeze and fawn, you can severely hurt yourself because you're not in the right frame of mind to do one. Okay. Now, there's probably some people listening like, oh, I've done that and it helps me. Great for you. But I wouldn't recommend it because when you're in freeze and fawn, you don't have the mental capacity for anything. So when you incorporate cold plunging or heat, like saunaing, you've got to be in the mindset of like, yep, I want to do this. And that's good about expanding your nervous system. Now, what I mean by expanding it is that we all have a different capacity for being able to be there for people. So, like your partner, your friends, your family. Some people are just like, oh, I can't deal with that. It's too much for me. I've got so much on my plate. I don't need to hear your bullshit. I can't be there for you right now. That's because someone doesn't have the capacity to be there for you, right? And that's fair enough. We have certain seasons in life where we don't have capacity for people. Sorry if you guys can hear the bin man. And so there is going to be times where we don't have capacity, and that's okay. But how we can actually expand our nervous system, which then creates us to have more capacity and to be able to handle more in our life, as in like juggle our life better, be there for people better in our life. Like for us to be able to do that is expanding, right? To be like, oh my God, I can hold a lot more. I have a lot more patience, resilience. Okay. So, how we can create more resilience to help our life to handle, what happens is cold plunging. Because when you go into cold plunging, and if anyone's new to it, I would go cold water first, work your way up, and then do ice. If you go in with ice straight away and you haven't trained your mind, if you change your mind, amazing, go for it. If you haven't, it's because you've got to relax your nervous system. That's the whole point in cold plunging. So when you're going into a cold plunge, you're like, okay, cool, I'm ready to do this. You go into it, it's cold as fuck. And you're like, holy fuck, what have I done? You're then gonna put yourself in a hard, like people can get heart attacks if they haven't done the training before. Cause this is what I mean. Everyone likes to put it as training. Oh, I do cold plunging once a week and then I do my saunaing. Amazing. But what actually behind it is you need to be able to work yourself up to that. That's very dangerous if you're thinking, I'm just going to do a cold plunge, because you're going to go into ice cold water and you're going to panic. You'll put yourself in a panic mode. You know what I mean? Because the idea of a cold plunge is you're going into that cold water and you're like, holy shit, okay. And you need to slow down your breathing. Your heart's going to be like, holy fuck, what are we doing right now? And you're in absolute shock. So what's happening? You need to go, okay, I've got this. Like, we can do this. And you're training your mind to calm. And you're in that mindset of like, I've got this. It's like mothers that are in childbirth. If you guys have birth naturally, fucking take my hat off to you. I honestly, because I had C-sections, that's a different mindset altogether with postpartum more than actual birthing, obviously. Women that have actually done natural birth, whether with epidural or not, you're still in feeling their contractions. And then those that didn't, like, chose to do no pain relief, you've got to put yourself in the mindset of like, holy shit, okay, because you're in absolute shock. Your body is in shock giving birth to a baby, right? So that's why some people go through that route of like doulas and stuff, and they help them, right? To go, breathe, that's it. And it's all into breathing because you're training your mindset to go, "Oh, we've got this," allowing the body to calm, and the body knows what to do. So that's the same as cold plunging. So if men are listening to this, that's actually a good equal to understand what your partner goes through when they give birth, is that when you're now in cold plunging, you've got to train your mind to go, okay, I'm steady, I've got this. Now we've got to regulate, and you got to like breathe through slowly to like calm your nervous system. And over time, you calm down and you're like, holy shit, each time you work your way up. So you might only be able to last 50 seconds or 30 seconds the first time, probably 30 seconds the first time. And then you build your way up to 50 seconds. Then you build up your way to a minute and a half. Then you build up your way to 2 minutes. That's how you build up capacity, right? By doing it more often, and you're training yourself. Okay. Same with saunaing. You go in the sauna. Some people can't handle heat, right? They can't handle the heat. So they're like, holy shit. And you're going into a sauna and you're like, okay, breathe. We're going to be okay. Because your body wants to go into like a holy shit, because your brain is triggered to go, holy shit, we need to be safe. We're getting chased by a tiger. Oh my God. So you want to freak out when really you need to go, no, we're not getting chased by a tiger, because our brain is still wired like back in the caveman days of that's what would happen if we were to survive. Cortisol pumps through our body, which is the stress hormone, and it can cause us a lot of damage in our body if we're activating that daily, which we are in the life that we live now with social media and everything. We are overstimulating cortisol in our body, and that's actually why a lot of us, you might even find that you're doing all the things, you're eating healthy, and you're not shifting the weight, is because you're activating your cortisol so much in your body. You're stressed and you might not even know it. And because that's pumping around your body, that actually can help you with storing fat. Honestly, there's linked studies to it. So this is what I mean. Like, it's really good for us to start to regulate ourselves and really do things to like, okay, how can we help ourselves? Also, cold plunging and saunaing can actually help with aging too in your body and your joints. It's really good for you, but there's ways to work up with it, right? So when you go into saunaing, you might only last 30 seconds, then you might last a minute, but you're in there going like, and if breathing doesn't work for some people, imagine yourself to, you take yourself to a memory, a comfortable place where you're like, I remember being on that beach and it was so relaxing. Okay, go to that place and like, I'm on that beach. I'm okay. I'm safe. Nothing's coming to get me. That's how you regulate. Then that's your thing. Okay. So it's all so different how we regulate our nervous system. But cold plunging and saunaing are really good to help expanding, to be able to have more capacity, which is more resilience. So, like when life throws us challenges, you're equipped to handle it better because you're training yourself that, I am comfortable in feeling uncomfortable, basically. Because the more we get out of our comfort zone, the more resilience and tolerance we build, which then helps us in our life, right? So, another thing that you can do to help get out your comfort zone is having hard conversations with your partner and with your friends and your family. So, when you bring something up to people, we get really scared of their reaction, what they might say. Oh, it's okay. I just won't say anything. And we settle. Settling will cause resentment, and resentment is really hard to get rid of. Okay. So the more that we can just go, okay, I can do this, and you get your personal power back because you get more like courage in yourself and go, I have the courage to have this hard conversation. Because if you don't bring up stuff with your people around you in your life, how do you expect that friendship or that relationship to get better? They don't know what they don't know. So the more hard conversations you have, you're getting out your comfort zone and you're able to actually go, okay, when you do this, it brings up this for me. How can we work through this? Or I don't like it when you bring this up because it makes me feel unworthy. Or why do you always talk about your past a lot? Because it makes me feel inadequate, right? Anything. But when we have those hard conversations and be like, hey, it sucks bringing shit up. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I still get scared sometimes bringing up things to my partner, bringing up things to my friends. I'm like, fuck, are they going to understand? It's like not everyone's going to understand, but it's about trying to understand each other. but doing it anyway, because if you don't say anything, it's going to hurt you more, because it's going to build up inside more. And if they do something that is not even a big thing, you're going to blow up at them, and that's not fair. And then it's going to be a lot more worse to come back from, right? So the more that we get out of our comfort zone, trying new things, all those sort of stuff, we build up resilience, which then builds up more trust we have in ourselves of like, yeah, I can fucking do hard things. The more shit we do to get out of our comfort zone, it's like, fuck, I got this. I can do it. The more times I've gotten out of my comfort zone, I'm more able to get comfortable with hard conversations. Yeah, it still like freaks me out. Like, holy fuck, how is my partner going to understand this? But here it goes, nothing, because there's a chance that he could be like, fuck you, bye, obviously. Same with friends. But I would rather say my piece and be truthful and honest and swallowing, like trying to work out how we can work through that together, than sitting on something and then he does something and I'm like, fuck you. Fuck's sake, why the fuck are you doing this? Blah, blah. You know what I mean? And that's so uncalled for. So the more times we can get outside our comfort zone with cold plunging, sauntering, trying a new thing, like trying new things, whatever it could be, having hard conversations, really speaking your truth a lot more, the more you get comfortable with it. And then you have more courage and confidence in yourself. So first comes courage, the courage to speak out. And then comes confidence, because you're like, holy shit, I'm okay. I didn't die, for actually being honest, right? And then that creates really good personal power for you, being like, holy fuck, I've got me. Everything's going to be okay, because our brain is still wired for back in the caveman day. So when you feel any sort of stress state, like fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, or your body is thinking, holy fuck, we're getting chased by a mountain lion right now, when you're not. And that's why it's important to regulate. Anyways, just thought it'd be a really good episode. I like it. There's so much goodness in there. But yeah, I really want you guys to listen to it again if you need. Hopefully that really helps you guys so much. But yeah, it's definitely a good time to listen back to it, just to make sure that you're understanding. It's a lot to process, but you got this, guys. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're an incredible person. You've just got to believe that in yourself.